Breaking news, Britain's FTSE 100
has finally hit 50-50 for male and female CEOs.
But here's the reality. On current trends, this news alert could be decades away. And some believe gender parity at the top of the business world may never happen. Today, around 10% of Britain's and America's biggest companies have female CEOs.
You're a really big role model, and there's a lot of pressure.
So, what's stopping women from rising to the top job? And how can more women get there? As CEO of Vodafone, Margherita Della Valle is one of Europe's most powerful businesswomen.
When I see other women CEOs now, we recognize each other. We are proud to be there in numbers because we see this as a sign of change.
Over the past decade, the number of female CEOs like Margherita has more than doubled in Britain and America's biggest companies. But they are still comparatively rare. Deepening the talent pool of aspiring female CEOs is one way to redress this leadership imbalance. And that starts by changing what happens to women earlier in their careers. Across the world, more women now graduate from university than men. And in America, over 40% of MBA students are women. But as careers continue, women are less likely to progress up the ladder than men. So, what's going on?
We're seeing that women are entering the workplace in ever-increasing equal numbers as men, but their careers slow down and sometimes they step off during that period of time when they're having children. So actually, there's a seemingly smaller pool of women to select when it comes to CEO.
Many women give up work after having kids. In rich countries, an estimated 80% of the gender gap in employment is due to women leaving the workforce after starting a family. This is part of what's known as the motherhood penalty. The motherhood penalty also negatively affects women with children who stay in the workforce. On average, they end up being paid less and promoted less than male colleagues with children. Take America and Canada, where for every 100 men who make it from entry level to manager, only 81 women are promoted, leaving fewer women than men available for promotion to senior manager level and beyond.
Often very, very well-intentioned managers are thinking, oh, I don't want to put too much pressure on you, or perhaps suggest that you move overseas for this great new role because I know you have small children at home. And they are disadvantaged when those assumptions are being made about them.
When companies are presented with CVs for managerial jobs, American women with no children have a 28% higher chance of callback compared with women with children. For ways to address the motherhood penalty and help more women become potential CEO candidates, inspiration can be found in the Nordic countries. The Economist Glass Ceiling Index puts Iceland, Sweden, Norway and Finland on top as the best countries to be a working woman. This is partly because they help working mothers to progress in their careers with supportive policies, like a decent amount of parental leave, affordable childcare and flexible work schedules, which helps explain why Norway leads the world with the highest share of female CEOs at 13.4%.
Women, know your limits.
Although attitudes have moved on, to get more women into top jobs, it's also vital to challenge old ideas about what a good CEO looks like.
The definition of successful leadership today is still very much shaped around typical male attributes. And therefore promotions and hiring processes in the companies are still influenced by that. We need to consciously focus on changing it.
And it's not just men who hold these outdated ideas about leadership.
How about women? Women are different. I think we're asking for trouble.
Just what is it we are afraid of?
2/3 of female CEOs say they didn't realise the top job was an option until a mentor encouraged them.
It's really interesting that we have recognized now that we need to go and find the women. Women don't necessarily self-promote, particularly to leadership roles. Women often need to be encouraged, and that's the role of mentors to identify that female talent so that they can tap them on the shoulder and say, you should apply for that role.
Diversity, equity and inclusion schemes are touted as one way to change biases and behaviour. But DEI initiatives, as they are known, are often ineffective. Professor Iris Bonnet is a behavioural economist and expert on bias.
Diversity trainings, which are a favorite tool of many organizations, in particular in the United States, have not been proven to be very effective. It is incredibly hard to de-bias minds.
To manage the problem of biases and increase the number of female CEOs, Iris advocates focusing on recruitment processes, in particular on what she calls the behavioural design of these processes.
I'd encourage everyone who interviews candidates for CEO roles to employ a structured approach. You ask every candidate the same set of questions in the same order, giving the same weight to the answers to these questions. So you can, in a somewhat more accurate fashion, compare these different candidates.
Companies also need to get better at holding on to female CEOs. In 2023, female bosses headed for the exit at a record rate.
Women at the executive level are leaving jobs more than ever before.
Almost a quarter of female CEOs leave their jobs within 2 years. That's compared with 10% for men. Female CEOs are more likely to be sacked too, with 34% pushed out compared with 25% of male counterparts. Researchers have spotted one explanation for this. Female CEOs are more likely to be brought in when a company is already heading for a crash, a phenomenon known as the glass cliff.
The glass cliff. It does create a very, very difficult environment for female CEOs because the risks of taking the wrong step are incredibly high. And from a role modeling perspective, that can be really challenging for those who are aspiring to CEO roles because they're seeing women take up roles where the likelihood of success is much lesser than it would be in a usual circumstance.
None of this is likely to inspire more women to aim for the top job. And yet the case for recruiting more female CEOs is clear. It would be better for business. Companies that exploit the full talent pool on offer are more likely to succeed.
I think everyone now understands the business case for diversity. You have access to better talent, you have better decision making, more women are coming through and numbers are starting to move. But it's taking too long, which is why we really need to focus on how to speed up this change.
Hi, I'm Sasha Nauta, Social Affairs Editor at The Economist. If you'd like to read more of our coverage on women in business, then click on the link opposite. And if you'd like to watch more of our Now and Next series, click on the other link. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.